Well, well, let's try that again. Well, welcome to March. Hi, everybody. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio on March 1st, 2023, which comes in like a lion, but it's a pretty nice day post-snowstorm after in Maine here today. Okay, and all snow-blowed and snow-plowed out, and so we're raring to go today with a nice show. We're going to talk about creating a strong summer learning program to promote great learning and equity. And it's my friends at Varsity Tutors, and this is so key in this era of education. My friends at Varsity Tutors helped me pick up this show. They put together the show, and that's varsitytutors.com if you want to learn more. It's a very important aspect of education these days. I got Brian Galvin here, who I believe is the chief. Let me get the exact title here for Brian. I think he is the Chief Academic Officer over there. And from the National Summer Learning Association, we have Brodrick Clarke. Okay, he's VP of Programs. And I'll tell you, the summer slide, let's make summer a time for learning as well. We work too hard all year long to have it slip out of the way and have to pop back in September. Haven't we learned that by now? So we're going to talk about great ways to do that today. My name's Larry Jacobs. This is going to be a fun show. We're going to archive it under the podcast link at ace-ed.org. Just go over there. You can see all the podcasts we've done under that link. Our magazine, Equity and Access, is over there, which is our online journal, which we're quite proud of. Everything we do over there is free for educators, and we're all about equity. So please check out ace-ed.org. We got stuff on social emotional learning, teacher retention, and of course, equity and access for every kid and everything we can do to help teachers accomplish their goals. We have it over there free for you, ace-ed.org. And that's enough of me blabbing. Let me bring on Brodrick and Brian, the B&B. I just realized that. Okay, Brian, I'll say hi to you first. I'm Larry. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Larry. Thanks for having us. And, excited to talk more about summer education.
We're going to have some good times today. And so it's summertime. I assume that Brodrick is wearing his bathing suit and sitting on a beach chair right now, Brodrick. Is that correct?
I am definitely wearing my summer cap right now. I'm totally clothed from the waist up, sitting at this desk as we have been for the last 3 years. But, fun. We have a good time in the summer, no doubt.
That's funny. Welcome to our podcast today, my friends. Okay, Brad, I want to start with you, Brodrick. Talk about the National Summer Learning Association, okay? And that's at summerlearning.org, okay, everybody, summerlearning.org. And I think this is really important, okay? Talk about it. Brodrick.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an honor and a privilege to be here with everyone, first of all. Foremost,
it's an honor and a privilege to have you here, my friend. Please.
Thank you.
Thank
you. And so the NSLA, National Summer Learning Association's total mission is to make sure that every single child in this great country of ours has a high-quality summer learning opportunity every single year. You mentioned the summer slide. I mean, there's far too many families that have access and privilege that are able to afford to pay for those experiences for their kids, but we know that there are 26 million young people that are free and reduced lunch and that fit in that poverty category that even if they wanted to, could not. And so we won't rest until every single child who is the most vulnerable among us have a high-quality summer learning opportunity. And I'll emphasize and underline high quality because low quality.
High quality, good enough. How long has the National Summer Learning Association been around?
We're celebrating our 30th year this year. We've been lifting up this idea of summer learning and how different it is from summer school, as well as how important it is to engage young people in the summertime. And so, the COVID experience has amplified our issue. It took it from a niche issue to a major priority of our country in terms of recovery and, getting back to, some greatness. And so excited to be, an organization that's sought after for advice, counsel, expertise, as well as to be a partner to learn alongside some of the great folks that are, contributing to that space.
Yeah, and before I go back to Brian, okay, just give us an idea of the type of programs that you guys offer, okay, to kids and schools all over the country. Can you hear me?
Oh, was that for Brian?
You're going
that was Brian or for me?
No, I said before I go back to Brian, I want to talk to Brodrick.
Gotcha. Okay, Brodrick. Perfect.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
So, so as a national convener, we're not a direct service provider, but we do have some demonstration projects that, certainly put some faces to our work. So we run a National Youth Leadership Institute. We bring 50 young people from all of our award-winning programs to Washington, D.C. They bring a chaperone or a staff person from their host organization.
Cool.
And we do leadership training with them all week. The students have a track of training. The parents and the adult staff have a separate track of training. And then we bring folks together for fellowship and to continue to build community. We also have a congressional internship program where we work with college-age students to get them to actually have a full-blown paid internship on Capitol Hill. So these individuals are working for congressmen, senators over the summertime. We know that the unpaid internship is one of the most unfair, unequitable forms of summer learning. And so we made sure that those young people got paid. We made sure we removed every single barrier that would prevent them from doing that. And so that's another one that's a really big piece for us.
But and let me ask, how do you, and since you just brought this up, what kind of groups do you work with as you facilitate all this? And obviously you work with school districts. I hope you do. What else? And I hope school districts are in there. Tell everybody.
Yeah, we work with school districts without a doubt. We have a great initiative called the State Summer Learning Network, where we have coaches from our organization working directly with state leaders who are totally responsible for creating opportunities for young people in the out-of-school time and summer learning spaces. And so that coaching is ongoing, thanks to the generous support from the Wallace Foundation. We also have generous support from New York Life Foundation to engage in those pieces as well.
I'm glad you mentioned them. Thanks for doing that. The work you do is really, really important. And you said something before that struck me. Okay, there's a lot of kids on free and reduced lunch, and when I ask any given district, it's usually, the usual is at least 50%, but it's usually a lot higher. Okay, and I'm curious, when you have your National Summer Learning Association, is it mostly for under-resourced kids? Is it under-resourced schools, however that shakes out, be it rural or urban? How does it shake out for you in that regard?
Yeah, so totally, we want every child to have an experience, regardless, right? But we're totally unapologetic about focusing on the most vulnerable among us. So we certainly have an emphasis there. So that's certainly, where our focus is.
Good.
To work with the most vulnerable youth in our country without question.
Good. We're the American Consortium for Equity in Education.
All young people at risk.
We love it.
All young people at risk. All young people need to have a high-quality summer learning experience. So.
Darn right. Here. I agree with you. Back over to Brian. Brian Galvin is the Chief Academic Officer of Varsity Tutors for schools. Varsity's good friends of ours, varsitytutors.com. More important now than ever is all I can say about that, okay, just to start the conversation. Brian, tell us about Varsity, just so we can put all this in perspective. How are you working with NSLA?
Yeah, we are the nation's largest live learning platform where we connect schools and individual learners with tutors in any subject, anytime, anywhere, sort of the company mission. And so where that fits into summer is we were at the NSLA conference back in October, and to reiterate what Brodrick talked about, there are so many stakeholders in summer, whether it's school districts themselves, library programs, kind of bespoke camps and even like housing authorities and those kind of things. We sort of see ourselves as, whatever you're trying to provide to students that's difficult to do at scale, that's hard to staff up. One of the big things they talk about is recruiting staff early for all these kind of programs. Because of our scale and ability to plug in, the one thing that's notable in the research about summer learning programs is you have to target the skills you want to improve, which sort of sounds obvious until you realize that if you want to increase reading scores or math ability, you have to do those kind of things. If you want to have one-on-one tutoring or small group learning at different ability levels, we can supply tutoring to plug into the 1, 2, 3 hours a day that you want to be able to do those things. Or if what's missing in your program is an element of fun, We have a coding platform called Codeverse where kids can learn to code through video games. We've got, so we have an astronaut leading a Summer of STEAM program this summer with enrichment activities and videos and kind of things. So if you need a little more sizzle, we can help plug that in. If you need, targeted tutoring or small group learning, we can plug that in. If you need, a coding platform or other things, we like to be the missing puzzle piece or pieces for the summer program that all these different organizations wish they had.
You're not missing any more. I'll tell you, you guys do a great job. I really mean that. And I made the point when I wrote up this show for the website. Teachers are off in the summer, but tutors aren't. All right, and we cannot have a quality summer experience. Okay, and stop this summer slide, which we've been talking about for years. Okay, and with technology and great companies, we can do this. Great associations promoting all this, we can make this happen. It's so stupid, okay, to finish school in June and let kids have 3 months, okay, with nothing, and then wonder why they're struggling. Okay, hello, we know why they're struggling. They just had 3 months off. Okay, so let's make this work and work great. Is that a good way to put it, Brodrick? It's ridiculous.
It totally is. It totally is. I think the danger in some of that too is that some folks believe that more schooling in the summertime is going to mitigate the summer slide, and what we advocate for is a summer academic experience that doesn't feel like traditional school. No one wants to sit in the summer months in traditional setting in rows with the teacher being the center at the front of the classroom. With all the respect to all those great educators that do that, we appreciate them, but out of school time and summer learning is not that. It's when you have carefully crafted, incredible facilitators that are able to weave in science, math, engineering, arts in ways that, young people are having fun, like they're engaged, it's relevant to them, and they'll go the whole day and not realizing that the instructor just went over 26 literacy standards and 14 math standards. They don't have to know that. They just want to come and have fun. But this is what summer learning is all about. This is what we advocate for.
That's exactly right. You just brought up, I wasn't even thinking about that, the old summer school, okay, how everybody dreaded that I'd have to go to summer school. This is not what we're talking about, okay? This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about great learning experiences. This is the question I don't know. I think Brian might know this. Brian, how many public school districts, if you know this, have summer learning programs, okay? And just put Varsity into the picture.
Yeah, so I'm not sure exact number of school districts. Brodrick might have that. The NSLA research base is fantastic, okay. But we're nearing about 50% of students. Then the 40 to 45% of students attend some kind of summer school program. So it is, it's becoming a lot more of a norm than in years before, like you mentioned, kind of when summer school was kind of seen as almost detention or a punishment. Now, thanks to a lot of the work that the folks like Brodrick are doing with recruitment of, hey, summer will be different and summer will be exciting. We're seeing it become more of the norm, and like you guys were talking about, it's because it's a chance to be a little bit different. You can connect with learners in a different way, whether it's through hands-on projects or ability to get outside or ability to spend more time on a targeted handful of skills. You're outside of that familiar cadence of school, so the trends are really encouraging.
The reality is that what the best teachers during the traditional school day take on very much a summer learning kind of modality. It kind of reminds me of the brother that was standing in front of the classroom, the video that went viral and giving individual handshakes to every child before they came into the room. That was a traditional day school, but he's using a strategy and a technique to make connections, and that's what we advocate for.
Well, it's so darn important. I apologize for that noise in the background a minute ago. We're having some work done in the office. Okay, if you heard that, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, and that wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. Brodrick, do you know the answer? How many public schools in the U.S. public school districts? And I think, are you in Baltimore? You're in Baltimore, right?
I'm currently we're located in Washington, D.C., so we're like a stone's throw away from the White House. Yeah. But it's a great question, and frankly, we have aspirations as an organization to answer that question with a strong research lens. But we've been searching, far and wide, turning over stones to try to get an accurate number, and we have not been able to do that. we've discovered that a lot of people are counting a lot of kids in programs. Sometimes they're counting kids 2 or 3 times over. Of course,
Wow.
The kid doesn't care whether I'm at the Y right now and the Boys and Girls Club tomorrow and the library the next day. They're just going from system to system to system. But, if somebody goes to the gas station and buys a thing of Tic Tacs, and you look at the receipt, you know what time they bought the Tic Tacs, what kind of Tic Tacs they bought. There's so much data on that receipt about that pack of Tic Tacs. We know more about a pack of Tic Tacs that we buy from the supermarket than we know about where our kids are in the out-of-school time.
That's a pretty scary statement, I got to tell you. Okay, that is a pretty scary
We're working on it.
Yeah, I know you are. So let's put this together. Brian, how are you specifically going to be, how are you partnering, working with, NSLA from Varsity?
Good question. One of the big, we participated in their conference. I think NSLA and Varsity Tutors have a very very similar missions of helping to enable summer programs to be all that they want to be. And so a lot of our partnership with NSLA specifically is, being able to be a resource that they can recommend out to, school districts or housing authorities or community programs. So most of our partnership is directly with the organizations providing the summer programs. And we do that, primarily by being able to offer tutoring services where they want to have personalized learning happen during, their days, their events, and those kind of things. And then, like I mentioned, a lot of the enrichment type programs to be able to add that recruitment value of kids realizing, one of the big things that came up at, throughout the conference this fall was recruitment is for you need to recruit teachers and make their jobs easier. And we see that, if we're able to provide individualized education or some lesson plans or other things, we make teachers' jobs easier. You need to recruit in the community because attendance is such a big factor. It's one thing to provide the program, but if kids aren't going regularly over multiple weeks and really over multiple summers, you don't get the gains that you're looking for that are not sustainable. And so by being able to help, all these programs say things like, hey, there's a coding platform that kids will be able to work on, or they'll be able to do these activities that are, in conjunction with Monopoly, a partner that we work with on summer programming, or Astronaut. If we have that kind of sizzle, now that recruitment job is a lot easier where schools and other partners are able to get people in and keep them hooked.
And you just brought up something interesting, Brodrick. When was your conference, the one that Brian was talking about, in October, did you say?
It was last October, and it'll be October again this year. Same place, Mayflower Hotel right here in Washington, D.C.
Good enough. Who goes to that conference? I'm driving to something here. Who goes to that conference? Are there a lot of school districts there, or is it mostly your community partners? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, we sold out last year, which was awesome. Out of the 1,000 people that showed up, about 300 of those individuals had the title of CEO, Chief Operating Officer. So a lot of decision makers were in the space. The other third were school districts. And so we have our State Summer Learning Network, but we also have a relationship with an organization called FHI 360, which is doing a lot of district level work. And so they bought their entire cohort to our conference and met. And then the other third is practitioners, folks that are literally on the ground serving children, youth, and families, locking eyes with families on a daily basis. And so it's a nice mix, but certainly very decision-maker heavy, which people tend to appreciate. And then it's from cross-sector. So you have librarians in the room, you have district folks, you have school day folks, you got out-of-school time folks, you got summer folks, and they're communicating and talking with each other in ways that they've told us that they've never had the opportunity before.
And the reason I asked the question was we have to get more school districts involved in this, okay? And they have to understand how the community partners that they may work with or themselves can promote summer learning, because there are so many challenges out there right now, okay? This is the challenge. First of all, we're losing teachers like crazy. Okay, teachers, it's very hard to retain a teacher, and it's very hard to find a new teacher. We have to make it easier. And what is more frustrating, than working all year, leaving in June, and having kids come back, and you're back to where you started in April or May, because of a summer slide. We have to prevent that. We have to keep the kids engaged. If the kids are engaged, the teachers are more engaged. All right, it's all part and parcel of the same thing, and it also has to do with school climate. And I will tell you what I always believe: the more rigorous we are with our students, the more they like it. Okay? A lot of people think, kids just want to take it easy in class. They don't. They want to be, this is almost across the board, they want to be challenged, okay, respectfully. And if they are challenged, I don't mean challenged discipline-wise, challenged academically, okay, they are going to be much, much happier. So the fact, okay, that everybody complains about the summer slide, yet all these programs are available, okay, and yet you're only getting, I'm hoping we get more, 30% of your visitors to NSLA's conference are public schools. Okay, we got to get that a lot higher. Okay, and get all those groups involved in working together to make this work. Varsity Tutors, okay, you're in the right place. Okay, you guys are great to see this. I mean, I really mean it. But this is the bigger challenge. It's not just silly summer school. Okay, this is the summer learning experience for a better school climate and better academics all year. Brian, how right am I?
I would say very right. And I think it comes back to kids do want to be challenged, like you said.
They do.
And part of it is getting them to, getting communities to see that summer programs aren't, what we used to think about them as. And that's what was so encouraging with seeing the mix of different organizations at the NSLA conference. It's, providers like ours, the National Basketball Association was there with programs that, facilitate learning, all kinds of cool robotics programs and things. I think if kids can opt into challenges that they have some sort of vested interest in, and the community sees that, hey, this is an opportunity to learn. This is, this isn't I hate to go back to like, punishment or a thing you have to do or, just a way to kill time. But I think if we get kids to embrace that challenge early on in the summer, families to be excited and sharing information about the different types of programs that are available, that's when summer can really be transformational, because it's an opportunity to sort of reinvent how kids think about learning, the challenges they're being asked to solve, and so summer really is a great opportunity. Yeah,
and you're right when you say the word reinvent. Okay, we have to reinvent education. The paradigm is different. Okay, and we have to. This is what does that. And one of you just said it's the community. It's the community that matters, and they have to understand how important it is. It all pays off in the end. And this is an interesting question. Again, I don't know either of you know this. Is there funding available for federally or statewide that you know of for summer learning budgets? I'll throw it to Brian, and maybe Brodrick knows better.
I'll take the easy answer is yes, absolutely. And NSLA has tons of resources about how to find funding for different use cases and things. So I may defer to Brodrick on the yes and portion of it. But I think there's more funding out there than people realize.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brian.
I mean,
Brodrick, just get into the details there. Get into the weeds.
Yeah, the current funding stream that everyone is focused on right now certainly has an expiration date. Is the federal funds that came out to support summer learning. The American Rescue Plan dollars are available. Those resources, $30 billion in that $1 trillion plan was authorized acceptable use for summer learning and out of school time experiences. And so those resources went to districts around the country, and in some cases they're spending that money very well. In some cases, it's unspent. And so there's a lot of fear, some anxiety around it. Do we open up the floodgates and have all this programming and can't sustain it beyond this investment period? But we also, as a sector and as a field, at some point have to account, like, $30 billion we gave out to the field, and folks haven't really leveraged that. And so there's a sense of urgency to connect to those resources, figure out where they are in your local jurisdiction, and make the call and make the case. I believe there's also a tool. I don't have the specifics around that right now, but it's like you can pretty much see which districts have the resources and how much they spent it down. That's public information. So find out where those resources went to and pick up the phone and get to it, because they're out there. They need to be used and spent, and hopefully it's spent on summer learning experiences.
Absolutely. And if they make teachers that'll look at that and find out how much their district has spent, because I'm telling you, you spend the right dollars on summer learning, you're going to have a much better teaching experience come fall.
So just to drop a little bit of hope here too, this is a solvable issue. Just to, I don't think we're going to solve the opioid crisis in our sector. We're not going to solve what's going on overseas and wartime, but we can get every single child in America connected to a high-quality summer learning experience year over year. We know when they have those experiences year over year, they fare better academically, social and emotionally, on all the indicators they fare better. And so we just need to ramp up the sense of urgency. If you see a child walking around the streets this summer with nothing to do, somebody needs to have a conversation about how to connect that child to a high-quality summer learning experience.
That's exactly right. And everybody needs a break, okay? You can rest your brain, okay? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about using time wisely, okay? That's engaging and fun, I might add, okay? It's that experience. And Brodrick, you'll be able to answer this. As you go out there and talk, you're VP of programs over at NSLA, again, that's summerlearning.com. Or do you find that people... Oh, excuse me. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Okay. Yeah. Do you find that more and more people are seeing the opportunity in summer learning? Again, it used to be a time when I was a kid in the inner city Philadelphia to open up the fire hydrant and run around and get wet. Okay. And believe me, we weren't doing a lot of learning back then. Okay. I'm sure kids still do that. But my point is, at community members and school districts, are they starting to see that they can't waste this time anymore? What's your take on that?
I think that the answer is absolutely yes, right? And so we spent the last 25, close to 30 years trying to lift up the importance and trying to convince people that summer is actually not just this like fleeting time. Like this is the time for us to really invest, to innovate, to get young people access. It's a time for impact. It's a time to really engage families. And so we've been saying that for such a long time, but of course this COVID experience has really elevated our issue to not just be like a niche issue, but now it's like a priority for our country to heal from this COVID period. And folks more and more, not only from policy, are beginning to have that conversation where they've created things like Engage Every Student. So if you go, our great leader in the U.S. Department of Education, Secretary Cardona, has created Engage Every Student. Now we have our federal policymakers saying that we need to get every student engaged. That's awesome. And, they put the money behind it. The American Rescue Plan dollars are out there. And so let's figure out ways to access those. But we also have a parent-facing portal now where we're trying to say, like, look, parents, connect to programs. I can't tell you how many times I talk to parents at the end of the summer that says, I didn't realize that program was right across the street. And so if you go to discoversummer.org, I'll say it again, discoversummer.org. It's like a search engine. You just put in your zip code and address, and it will pop up all the programs that are in the database that are within reasonable distance from your home. And it will also feed that website with a lot of knowledge and information, facts, things to educate parents, because a lot of times parents, need out-of-school time programs for the child care. So their checkbox in terms of quality is like, oh, my kid is safe inside, at this program. But we need to educate parents about what quality is. Don't just settle for any old program just because they have a seat for your child. It's about the quality of the experience that they have when they're there that really makes the difference. And so educating them about what quality looks like, feels like, and sounds like, get them to be active, visit programs, talk to program directors, be active, volunteer at programs, become a part of that out-of-school time community is what we're really advocating for.
And you said it at the beginning, we're talking about quality programs, not silly programs, quality programs.
Yes. There's a lot of programs out there in the name of helping and supporting families that should never be allowed to open their doors, quite frankly. That's in my opinion. But the quality movement is out here because, there are a lot of people that are doing a lot of things in the name of supporting children that you wouldn't want to put your own child in. And if you're running a program that you wouldn't feel comfortable having your own child in, that program needs to be closed.
You got that right, my friend. Thank you for saying that. So, Brian, when you were at the conference, what was you were there with the tutoring service, varsitytutors.com. I'll say it again. What was the reaction of all the folks that came to your booth? Okay, did they get it? Did they understand why you were there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was pretty powerful and refreshing to see, one, how many different small organizations that have really great programs were having a chance to interact with each other. And then two, kind of our theme in any of the conversations we facilitated, the booth that we held and all was, what are the puzzle pieces that you have that you're trying to connect? And then what are you missing? And so often what we would find is, folks would come in and say, hey, we know the research says that kids need time on task. we've built this great program that the community loves. Kids are safe. Kids come in and we can do things, but we really, it's hard. We still have, 20, 25 kids in a group with one teacher, personalized learning to help them catch up. And we said, well, hey, we can plug in tutoring where, kids can go into small groups and we'll supply tutors to help them with that. That was something that they hit. Or they would say, hey, we've got a great program where, we have teachers that love coming into the summer. They love the extra income, the opportunity to interact directly with students, but we may need a little more sizzle. And we would mention things like, hey, we've got a coding platform if we want them to be able to develop those skills and have, have fun to create video games. So the neat thing for us was most school districts and other partners had really compelling things, knew what their weaknesses were, and then were able to find in Varsity Tutor services or in conversations with one another, okay, this is something that we're missing. And one of the things, to go back to, something Brodrick mentioned about a lot of parents don't know that this program exists in their town, down the street, or anything like that. Some of the really great conversations were about recruitment and, community awareness and making sure that folks know where the high quality programs are. And so it's a really great service that NSLA is putting on to help share best practices, across the country and across, programs, library programs, talk to library programs, and different programs so that they can, find out what's working, what are those missing puzzle pieces, and what partners like Varsity Tutors exist to help fill those in.
Yeah, and get the community involved to understand that the quality's out there and somebody's vetting it and making it. I love this. This is just great. Guys, I got to thank you. Brodrick, good luck with everything. This is fantastic. I mean, you're doing a great job.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Well,
I appreciate you very much.
You're right there. You're right there where we need you to be. And Brian and your good friends, my good friends over at Varsity, thanks a million. I appreciate this. I really do, and I appreciate the work you're doing. There's a changing educational landscape out there. And tutoring isn't just to help Larry pass algebra to get past the next test in 1964. Okay? Tutoring is an essential part of equity and learning these days, and it goes 12 months a year. Okay? Enough of this summer slide and all this, and Brodrick agrees with me, I'm sure. Gentlemen, the two men, the BR and the BR, Brodrick and Brian. Thank you, guys.
Very similar.
Thank you, brother.
I just had my summer gear on like Brodrick did. Hey, Larry, if I can back on one quick thing at the end.
Sure.
I know summer slide, we want to talk about is it's a reality and it's a challenge. But you said something really interesting at one point about how summer learning can make fall teaching more effective and easier.
Oh, absolutely.
One thing I challenge, especially parents listening or anyone thinking about summer programming, think about it like the tortoise and the hare, that with the summer slide, when other people are taking a rest or regressing, that's when the kids who have been behind all school year, where just sort of seems like the moment they get caught up, a new chapter, a new skill, something else adds on, and they just never really get a chance to thrive. I like to look at tutoring over the summer programs as, that's when, in the classic tortoise and the hare case, it's a really, there's a silver lining in the summer slide.
Slow
that it's
steady
a chance for those who are really working to make up that gap, have an extra chance to make up that gap. And so hopefully we can see, I love the idea that eventually we'll have every student thriving throughout the summer. But for now, if you kind of look at those learners that need that extra boost, man, is summer a perfect time to give it to them so that, they're back with the pack when September starts and they can really thrive.
And I'll say what you brought it up again. There's challenges out there in finding and keeping great teachers. Okay, and this matters. Okay, you get rid of that frustration of the summer slide. Okay, you're starting to fresh and new and bright, and everything's better. Okay, it's part and parcel of tutoring and the whole new educational landscape that's out there. Good point, Brian. Thanks for bringing that up, my friend. Slow and steady wins that race. That's all I have to say. Right, Brodrick? Roger?
Absolutely.
Just keep moving.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm going swimming today, my friend. It said March 1st. Summer. Yeah. Okay. Hey, guys, you guys take care. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Be good, guys. Yeah, it's a pleasure from my end, too. Bye-bye. Okay, well, great guys. Brodrick and Brian. Brodrick Clarke, who is the VP of Programs over at NSLA, National Summer Learning Association, summerlearning.org. Thank you, Brodrick. Okay, and Brian Galvin, Chief Academic Officer at Varsity Tutors for Schools, varsitytutors.com. Okay, so thanks, everybody, for helping put this together. This was a good show. I enjoyed this. Learned some stuff. Okay, hope you did too. See what we do over at a-ed.org. I'm Larry Jacobs. Thanks for listening.